What is up, guys? Euclid back here with you again, and today we're going to be talking about something that has obviously taken the Halo community by storm, and that is the discussion and the events recently following over on the cancellation and or shutdown, if not eventual shutdown, of Halo Online. Now, this subject is very touchy, and the reason that I'm making this video is not to dispute or say anything towards 343 Industries, and it's not to disagree with the people that are outraged by it. It's really to give my opinion and tell you guys, basically what I think about it. So, number one, I'll have to ask that you be a little bit forgiving on my voice because I'm feeling rather sick, but I really felt that I should give my word on this because there's a lot of people that are wanting to hear something about as to how this has been going and what's been taking place. So basically, Halo Online is a game that it has Russian origins. It was free to play for a lot of people, but eventually had gotten shut down and just no longer was a thing. It recently got revived by a team of people that go by the name of El Dorito and was made into a free-to-play PC port of Halo 3 with some additions. Now, the something about that I really like is that not only does it bring a lot of the classic gameplay for Halo back into the mix for us, what I really like about that is that it not only did that, but it gave us new weapon skins, and it gave us the ability to switch sprint on and off. We could dual wield again. It was amazing, and what it brought with it was something that I can't even show you. I was going to show you with some recorded gameplay that I have. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud, or Microsoft might send the banhammer on me, but because this will feature no gameplay, I can talk about it all I freaking want. So I'm going to talk about a few things. Number one, to those of you that are pretty upset about it, so am I. And I was blown away when I got home and I had heard about it from everybody who was on Twitter throughout the day and stuff, because I work long hours and I wasn't able to really see this stuff as well as other things that do happen when they do first happen. So I'm usually catching up by the end of the day, and it's annoying for me and it's probably annoying for my friends, but luckily my said friends in the Halo community are calm and collected about most things. My professor back at my college from where I just moved, by the name of Professor Isgrig, told me that for somebody who came from the career that I came from and somebody who did things, that I was pragmatic, and I'm really going to try hard to exercise being pragmatic today. I try to look at all the situations, and there have been other situations where people have been upset about 343 for certain things, but you guys have to remember that they're not the big dog in their chain of command. That's Microsoft. Now, this isn't to simply hate on Microsoft, but it's also to talk about things that I just recently found out had happened this morning. I'm not able to stay up to date about things as much as other people, and that's not me dissing them. It's more so saying that I can't wait to have a more consistent schedule that allows me to do things and to have like a shift that doesn't change rapidly due to training. So, what we're going to talk today about is basically classic Halo, new Halo, the things in between, and what's been happening lately that I, as well as many others, just don't agree with. So basically, what had happened was a mod/game was made for Halo 3 that included a lot of different things, a lot of remade maps, including my favorite, which was Turf from Halo 2, brought into a Halo 3 port and made into something that looks like it could have been in the background of Halo ODST, Halo 3 ODST. That's not the point. The point here is the outrage and how you guys feel, and you're not unjustified in the way you feel. The initial takedown bothered me. I was ready to get home, join a server that I'd found some really cool people in that they usually host at least every night or every other night, and I was going to record some more gameplay for them and make a compilation for you guys. As a lot of you guys may know, I hit 1,000 subscribers a short while back, and I meet what I believed was the quota to be remonetized, but as such I've still not been remonetized. So just so you know, I'm making these videos for free. Doesn't bother me. It's a pastime that I love, and I wanted to get my opinion out there because there's a lot of people streaming about this game and they're getting DMCA notices. Now, DMCA basically is what's known as the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and it was made back in 1996, and yes, I am paraphrasing, so don't judge me. But basically it states that it is United States copyright law that implements two 1996 treaties of the World Intellectual Property Organization. Now, a DMCA notice, as it states right in front of me, is when copyright infringement content is removed or taken down from a website by the website owner upon receipt of a DMCA takedown notice from their ISP hosting company. This notice is generated by the, or on behalf of, the illegally published content owner, distributor, publisher, etc. So basically, when a DMCA takedown is initiated for somebody like Ubernick or Sketch or a lot of these bigger YouTubers, potentially Ian or from Halo Canon or Hidden Xperia, for all these guys like the Actman, when they put videos of this up, basically the DMCA takedown, it's not just saying you can't do that video, oh okay, we're good. These are videos that if given too many DMCA takedowns, that content creator could have their channel completely devastated. That is their living. That's the way they live. And am I envious of that? Yes, but I have to speak against that because these are the kind of guys that represent something I could be one day, in a long term in the future. Now, why this really bothers me that it happened, it's not the copyright part that bothers me. I get what they're talking about with their IP and stuff like that, and talking about protecting their content and how they have to do it by law. It's the fact that Halo Online came out several days ago. People had been streaming about it. Nobody had said anything. Nobody actually knew that it was technically illegal, and yet several people received DMCA takedowns. That's what I have a problem with, because it's like being told, oh, this is a great place to take a walk and a stroll in, and you weren't told by anybody, including local authorities, that it's a dangerous place, and after walking through this meadow, after walking through this park, you step in a fucking bear trap, and that's what a DMCA takedown is for a content creator. So the reason I have a problem with this is because people were caught in snares and they weren't supposed to be there. It's unfair. You should be given a warning. Sure. I'm glad I didn't go ahead and upload a video about it, because even though I don't make money from it, it's technically illegal and I would have received a DMCA takedown. What really bothers me about that is the fact and the timing. You don't punish people for doing something they didn't know was illegal. It's not like they were, doing stuff, like they were doing drugs from a combination of things that were made under their sink and going, oh, I didn't know that was bad for me. Obviously, it's bad for you to do things that are going to hurt your health. But streaming a PC port, which is the most active and most live and most recent and most updated and most moderated version of a game that came from what I personally consider to be around the golden age of classic Halo. Not Halo in general, but classic Halo, where I and many of my friends that we grew up together played together, and it has active people to basically say that that's wrong and stuff like that, and not take some kind of hint from it is wrong. And this is not a lash out at 343, because many of the prominent members of 343 Industries were taken off guard by this. They were like, what? Like, what? So, read it on Twitter and stuff. Number one, you got to think about something when blaming 343 or Microsoft. And I'm not defending Microsoft, because this is one in a long line of shitty things that Microsoft has done. And it's true, Microsoft. You've done things by the book to a degree to which is not bad, sometimes to a fault, but you have to do things by law, and I get that. What I don't like is that these people who make their living off of making live content, video game content, videos, comedy, etc., they are digital content creators, and they were hitting with something which is the closest thing to getting fired permanently for their channel. And you can port over things like, I'm going to Twitch, but not everybody that they've got subscribed to them is going to know that right away. Not everybody watches. That buildup of subscribers and people watching, that helps them make ad revenue, which helps them make a living. Now, you could say, like I've seen a few comments here saying people need to get a real job. Fuck you. You're just jealous because of what they've made. You're just jealous of what they've done. Other groups of people that make Halo mods and groups have sent their condolences. That's something you should be doing. But telling them to get a real job and telling them to say, saying things like this, you really think that it doesn't take effort to make videos? You think we just hit record and upload? You think it's that simple? Some people do, and their content is good enough to where it works, or they have an audience that likes it enough, like Circumflexes. He just uploads game replays of World of Tanks. But number one, he's really good at the game, so it's fun to watch him go through victory or a really, staggering defeat. Or number two, it's just because we like the way he talks. He's funny, he's got a cool accent, and he literally delivers. When we're bored, we can somewhat live vicariously through other people, or they can deliver lore to us, like several people, like Halo Can, like Hidden Xperia, like the Actman. Whether you like one channel or the other, this is how they make their living. And when they get a DMCA strike and they didn't know they did something wrong, that's wrong in itself. And this is something we can't pass the blame off to 343 because of that. because they're not the ones in charge, totally, guys. They're not. I'm trying to think about how to say this. 343 can't be blamed for the actions of Big Brother, basically. They can't rebel against the company that has them essentially chained in a binding contract that owns them. Remember, number one, when somebody is doing something that you think is wrong, you have to think about number one about it. Number one, what are they gaining from doing this? What is 343 gaining from this DMCA taken down being issued, which was not issued by them? I mean, it was issued by them, but they were ordered for this to happen, for the assets to be basically protected in a sense. They're not gaining anything. It's hurting the community, especially the classic community, which I grew up in. I'm a part of that entirely older group of Halo gamers in that generation, a veteran Halo player since number one. And 343 gains nothing from that. So think to yourself, did they want to do this? Hell no, they didn't. And, you know, there were risks, potential. There's a risk in any time making a Halo mod or a game. All of the groups know that. Installation 01 knows that. Sins of the Prophets knows that. Both groups are managed pretty well by people that know how to do things without infringing upon copyright law. There are other groups coming out. There's Project Contingency. I mean, there's just all these different groups, fantastic groups, all of which I've done a video for either a reaction or review or a lot of gameplay on, more so for Sins. And I know that they don't mind me playing their mods and games, and I'm giving them advertisement, but I'm not doing it just to give them advertisement. I'm not doing it because I'm endorsed. I've not made very much money from this channel at all. We're getting off topic a little bit here. The point is, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be upset about something like this, because when I got home from an 11 and a half hour, almost a 12-hour shift, I'm exhausted. It's manually enduring. There's a lot of stuff we have to do because I'm a field technician. So the stuff we do is not so much as far as setting up people's cable and doing stuff like that. It's more so climbing ladders and carrying heavy equipment and setting things up and drilling through people's homes and trying not to get sued by them by making sure they want said stuff done. I was tired. I'm not looking for a pity party, but I was exhausted. And then I come home, I boot my computer, I hear the hum of my Kraken, and I hear the sound of my computer booting up, knowing that I'm going to be playing one of my favorite Halo games of all time with people I just met, who are talkative in the lobbies, by the way. That's something that hasn't happened in a long time. People barely talk in newer games on lobbies, especially in social playlists. So it felt like I was traveling back in time between 2007 and 2009, and you have no idea how good that feels. Or you do, because a lot of you do. A lot of you are upset about this because A, you were going to play it, or B, you had played it and wanted to continue playing it for the next year. Posts that were made by such people as Tyler from Halo Collective. People were going to do it, and it's like, well, not now, because a lot of us want to record it while we play because it makes good content, and we want to be a part of that string of people speaking about it. But when we're told that it's going to hurt us or affect us or we're going to get punished for it, what's the point? And that's what upsets us. So really, Microsoft, you really need to ante up your game on how to treat your community. You need to ante up your game on how to think about what you're doing. Piss poor timing, and if you don't care because it's just what it is and what it is, then that's wrong. I know law. I know how it works. Believe me, I worked in it as a career. What I really don't like, how this is being handled, is one, how 343 has to take the stamp of the blame, which Microsoft is aware at and probably not bothered by, honestly. Well, it's great to have a sponge between us and the enemy. Oh yeah, it is, yeah. You're expendable. Say, well, 343 Industries was named after a character who both was prominent, continued to survive, and eventually died in the original trilogy. A shout out to a lot of classic Halo fans, a call of faith that they would carry on the mantle of responsibility, in a manner of speaking. So really the problem here is we're getting worked up. I mean, you know I am, especially by this point, right? So really what I wanted to tell you guys was how I felt about it, that I understand why you're upset. I understand that. When I got back into the game lobbies and I was speaking to these people that I didn't even know, who were talkative, who were kind, who were friendly, all making jokes. At one point, we were all dancing. I was driving a mongoose through the new desert version of Avalanche, which was an overplay map, especially in the later Halo 3 days on Xbox Live. And we were all, someone was playing music in the background. There's like 5 Spartans dancing around and goofing off. But we weren't doing that because we're stupid or because we were just having a good time. We were doing it because we were overwhelmingly happy about feeling like we had finally gotten thrown a bone. I can't tell you how upset I was initially about Halo Online being, you know, basically called out and essentially shut down, especially by popularity. But what I can tell you is this. This isn't the end for Classic Halo. I know that for a fact, and 343 knows that. Believe you me, especially representatives like Grim and Kiki Wolfkill and Bonnie, and Frankie, they all know that. And a majority of them do give a shit. I've learned that through the responses and how they've calmly, collectively apologized and responded to the comments of people like me who really don't have a say in much of anything. And then as well to people like, you know, the bigger content creators that I mentioned earlier who have a say in a lot. And actually, I believe personally have a good bit of influence over games in the future. I wanted to stream this game. I was going to do game nights with this game. I was going to invite as many people as I could think of to these games and host servers for you guys and try to do it at least once or twice a week. But now that's not going to happen. Okay, I get copyright-wise why that's not going to happen, but that's not what this is about. This is about how Microsoft handled the situation, and it was pissed poorly. Very pissed poorly. You can say what you want. You can say people that don't work for Microsoft don't understand because they don't know the situation. No, we know the situation. We weren't told that it was illegal. It was assets that have been put publicly for days and days. It was not shut down, and once the height of it had reached, and it was way over the amount of people on servers for Halo 5 at points, for Halo 3 on Xbox Live. I mean, you could look at it. It's ridiculous to see this and then shut it down. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely asinine how they handled it. Instead of DMCA strikes to people who have helped the franchise grow, this isn't a shout at 343 Industries. It's a shout at Microsoft. You very well know that Halo is one of your biggest cash cows, and yet you chose to basically, you know, potentially damage the full-on careers of digital content creators. It's getting me a little pissed talking about it. Of digital content creators who make their living making your game promoted for free. Now, you could say it's not for free, but the ad revenue is produced via YouTube. The content there, you're not paying these content creators to create ads for your games. They're doing it. They have thousands and some of them millions of followers, and you are doing this and damaging it, and you don't realize how much it's hurting you. This isn't a, oh, you can make your business better speech. This is more on really what's morally right. And a lot of times, big companies like you tend to forget about that kind of stuff. Now, I've always played games that I've used software that have come eventually through the chain of command from Microsoft. I love Windows 10 once editing all the BS features out of it that send data every day and bog your computer down for information that's unnecessary. I love it. I've always used Windows. I think Windows 7 was my favorite. Let's get to the main point. You are hurting people who make their living off of digital content and doing free advertisement for your games. Essentially, it's 343's games, which means it's your games in the long line because you own everything. So really, you need to work on how you treat your community. You need to work on how you treat your fan base, your clientele, and your customers. Because right now, you fucking failed. So that's just something I want to say to you, to the rest of you, to the players of Halo, new and old. I'm upset too. I hated coming home and finding out that a PC port to one of my favorite games of all time, despite its obvious flaws, but it was all about the fun that I could have in a random match of multiplayer. We got into a lobby and everybody was talking about their first time playing Halo 2, Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 3, Reach, ODST, and we went up to the newer games too and talked about what we liked and what we didn't like. We were talking about that, but it honestly feels like the Master Chief Collection was broken for a long time, had been broken for a long time. And the real question is, was 343 allowed to prioritize on that project? Because they're given, you know, abilities, but they're also given restraints. And having to apologize about something we don't really know if it's their fault or not. So Master Chief Collection is coming to PC. That's something I believe or I've seen or whatever. Could be great for us. But we already had a game that was great, and you could have at least told them not to go so far instead of just immediately shutting it down and issuing out DMCA because they didn't know. Half of them are my age or younger, and most of us, to be honest with you, if we're not told that it is wrong for the most people, they're gonna believe that way. Now, that's not the way to seek it out. You should always seek out information by law, what is legal. But this is overkill. It's like shooting someone's dog because it wandered in your property for a second and it wasn't harmful. It's like, well, it's my property. Like, really? Like, are you crazy? You're gonna handle things that way? That really just paints the image for me. You're a corporation, you're big, and you're greedy. And it really comes down to the fact that you no longer give a shit about public relations. You're just in it for the money, and that's why you try to force people into Windows 10. I am getting off topic. To those of you that play the Halo games, I'm upset too. I barely get to play them. You can ask my friends on Twitter. You can ask the guy that does my thumbnails, known as Joshua Zell or VFX Ninja Editor, like Virtual Ninja. I'm getting names wrong. The point is, all my friends would agree with me. They would vouch for me in this. I know they would. I barely get time to play, and when I do finally get the time to play, I find out that there is a purge going on of content creators that I both either know or I watch. That's the problem here. So collectively, and trying to be pragmatic, we have to breathe. It's the name of the video for a reason. Just breathe. Remember what you love about Halo the most. Bring it up. Send it. Find a way to make it public. Tag Microsoft in post after post after post after post. Tag 343. Not to hate on them. And another thing we got to talk about is the death threats I've been seeing and hearing about. Really? You're really going to go so far as to threaten to kill somebody? And it's not an idle threat. When you've made the threat, somebody has the thought in the back of their head that a total stranger wants to end their life. Whoever you are, calling you out. Really? You're going to do that over a video game? Yeah, we're upset, and yeah, we can speak about it peacefully. Peaceful protests. There might be words said, like the ones I said earlier in this video. They're a little more aggressive, but death threats? These are people you're talking about. These are people that you are talking about with lives and feelings and families, significant others and children. And you're going to sit there and make death threats to them. You need to sell your game and report yourself. That's what you need to do. I just can't get over the fact that this stuff happens so blatantly and so quickly. So really, I apologize for this not being a super creative video with a lot of editing. But number one, I don't have the time to do that right now. Number two, I wanted to get it out rather fast. So this is to my Halo community. 343, I know better. And I know you guys do too. And I know that it's really not your fault. And I'm looking at it from a bigger picture, being pragmatic. Don't get pissed at the first sign of something that makes you angry, guys. Take a step back. You're shaking from anger. And just think to yourself, what do they gain from it? Who's really responsible? Like if a new ordinance is issued in a town and the police officers in that ordinance are told to enforce that ordinance, basically saying, like a speed limit is changed. Don't get mad at the officer. It's not their fault. Don't get mad at the person that has to do something, because if they don't, they'll get in trouble. So it's technically an order. So really, guys, in a closing, remember what makes the community strong. Be diplomatic about it, but represent your true opinions, because we can't get DMCA strikes for talking about stuff. That's ridiculous. If that happens, I'll have a lot more to say. The point is, this game was a sign, a big hint and prelude to something that we really want. Lobbies full of people that want to talk. I just finally felt when I was playing Halo Online like, and I'm not blaming 343 for this, but I just felt like a kid again. I felt like I could slow down from my job and I could shut off for a little bit and actually be a Halo fan again. And I've not been able to enjoy a Halo experience as far as game titles have gone since Halo 4, at least with this campaign. So, off and on, the games have either progressively gotten worse or better here and there. But right now, this treatment of this entire situation and the treatment of the content creators, you're going to need those content creators one day, and you're not doing yourselves a favor by slapping them in the face. So you need to work on that big time. In a closing, guys, keep your heads high. That's what you need to do. I know it's hard to think about this kind of stuff because, trust me, I'm upset about it too. But we have to stay strong in these situations. We have to stay positive. We've all got our own lives outside of this stuff, and we can't afford to take the negativity given by a company that is piss poor at management and basically handling things with copyright law. We can't let that bother us in the real life. We can't take that with us. We're going to be miserable all the time. This place, this digital world, the internet itself is supposed to be our escape, where we can diffuse, where we can relax and play games with our friends and make videos and make podcasts. And when stuff like this happens in the world that's supposed to be our escape, it really gets to me too. So guys, just remember to keep your heads high. This is temporary. Classic Halo will make a return, and I think we'll be hearing more about this in the near future. I don't disagree with you guys. Just some of the ways that some people are handling things is wrong. Threats are wrong. They're wrong, period. There is no disputing it. Death threats are stupid. Whoever you are, you don't need to play video games. You need prison or something else. So, without further ado, that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to kind of give you guys my opinions on it. Kind of long, but I'm not afraid to talk about it. Keep your heads high. And guys, remember, I know it's hard right now to deal with this because I was really looking forward to this growing too. But remember, it's not the end of the world. This came from people that worked on the El Dorito mod/port of Halo 3. Without further ado, guys, just remember to keep your heads high. Just breathe.